you've got the best of the best, so it gives you a chance to test yourself. You know, this is the competition that people want to win.
The thing with this one is all the best teams are here from all over the UK and Ireland, and the French teams that are in here. And the way this place is fishing is phenomenal fishing. So it's the best in the UK.
It's probably the camaraderie and the competitiveness. You've got like the best anglers in the country, getting everyone together, having a really good like banter, good laugh, a lot of mickey taking, and then the competition side of it, and trying to put yourself against the best anglers in the country is what it's all really about.
As soon as you step on the boat, everything changes. Your mind switches on to fishing, match fishing. You want to beat the rest.
I think we're in for a bit of a fish fest. There are fish everywhere. We've been up and down the lake, every single spot, main basin, top arm, bottom arm, and we're moving fish and taking fish all over.
It's the FA Cup. We want to win it, and it's just the prestige, the build-up, but it's the class anglers. You've got the Welsh, the Irish, even got some French over, and they're the best. And to win this, you've got to be the best.
You get such a feeling to be part of this elite group. We love it. We thrive on this being here for this. It's a great feeling.
So that's what the anglers think of the Airflo Spring Invitational. For me, this is just one of the best competitions you could hope to see in freshwater. Rutland Water is an amazing venue. We've got 132 of the best loch stylers, probably anywhere in Europe, if not the world. Ahead of us, 2 days of just great fun. I cannot wait to see what happens. Looking around this year, we've got 132 of you. Hell of a field again. Yeah. Weather's been up and down. What on earth's going to happen?
Well, I wish I knew. Yesterday I thought I was going to empty the lake. It was flat, calm. My conditions, stuff I really like, light line, small flies, and really had a ball yesterday. I've not fished it in these conditions, so I'm going to have to relearn and adjust. One thing I have seen is that depth is playing a complete key in the... you're on fish, and if you haven't quite got the depth right, it's a bit like the coarse fishing guys. If they haven't got their shot set right, they're catching nothing.
If you were going to stick your money down, I know your team are in contention, but who would you put your money on?
Well, the Welsh Hawks have been up since probably Monday or the weekend, and Cartwright's been up here before, so, at the end of the day, they're a class team. You've got Rob Edmonds a lot as well, who are always going to be there, and Barry's out all the time. So, he's got a good crew around him. He knows where to go when everybody else has caught their easy fish. So, having that knowledge, it's hard to compete with that level of local knowledge. So, those are the three teams that are going to be fighting for the spots. But we'll see at the end of the day.
And the Nymphos as well.
Yeah, I forgot the Scottish boys as well. The Ospreys, they're class act, and I saw those guys catch a few fish yesterday as well. So, they're going to be in the frame.
He who does least catches most. Leave the flies alone, don't touch them. That will bring the rewards, I guarantee you.
So the 2024 Airflo Spring Invitational is underway. We are out on the water, and my co-commentator, as usual, is Billy Rankin, former England Lochstyle captain. Billy, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what happens this weekend.
Love this place, absolutely adore it. Look at it, look at the weather, perfect fly fishing weather. We're the only people, when it goes overcast, go, oh yeah.
Do you know what? It's funny, isn't it? Talking to the guys about their practice session yesterday, it was 30 degrees and sunny out here. A couple of them got really quite bad sunburn. And today, it's not warm, is it?
No, it's not warm. And yesterday was flat calm. And now you've got a northerly wind. Looks like it's set for the day. So a lot of, you're going to cover a lot of water, which is good. That's a good thing to happen. Because otherwise, when it's flat calm, you've either got to be on the fish or you've got to keep moving, and the boat's a nightmare, and casting's a nightmare. It's
My
easy.
casting's always a nightmare. Look, we're going to get into it now and see what happens in this match. As I say, 2 days ahead of us. The weather conditions are going to play a big part. Lord knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But for now, let's get into it and see if we can find a few guys catching fish. So Billy, always interesting in these matches to discover where the boats split off to and how far across this enormous piece of water they go. And we've steamed all of, 30 yards out the entrance, and here they are.
I was watching them catch fish in the car park.
But it's interesting, isn't it, that what's happened in this kind of environment at the moment is the fish seem to be really, really close in. I mean, you can see around us, we're in Church Bay, which is literally just out of the entrance to the marina. And there are over a dozen boats within a stone's throw of the front of the reservoir. There's people bank fishing as well. Why are they all here?
Well, mainly the shrimp really close in, and also buzzer. The buzzer fishing is normally over about 10 foot of water to the bank. And early season, it's classic that everywhere all fish are really close to the bank feeding. And then there's also flooded water, so there's worms, all sorts of things. The more natural you fish, the more likely you are to do well. They'll take a lure a few times, but
sometimes they just can't help themselves. Can
no, it's just that I heard that sometimes a bit of colour works, sometimes it doesn't work. So you've got to keep mixing it up.
Well, Billy, there's boat number 29 with Peter Octoloni of the Menteith Ospreys just pulling in the drogue. Peter will be among those this weekend. We've got to keep a very close eye on the Ospreys, of course, former winners of this event, and they'll be among the contenders to lift the trophy. At the other end of the boat, though, an interesting sight. That, of course, is John Beck. And those of you who know your football will know that John is the former manager of Cambridge United, an ex-Fulham striker, and he is part of the Badgers team, which also contains Chris Guthrie, ex-Newcastle United footballer. One of the most interesting things I think about Chris, who we've seen in these events quite often, is he's just as competitive and passionate about fly fishing as he ever was when he pulled on the black and white stripes of Newcastle United. And let me tell you, when he was playing, he never took any prisoners. A great footballer, as was John Beck, and a great manager who famously took Cambridge United on a very successful FA Cup run a few years ago.
It's something you can do to a long, and be very, very good. You could be in the England team in your 60s. I was in the England team in my 60s, So, it's something I started serious fly fishing when I was probably about 35, and then I've had a good 30 years at it. So, it's a great career. And I'm being, it's a season to it, and there's like trophies and
It also stops you going out vandalising bus shelters, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and sort of other nefarious
Pubs.
acts.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk a little bit about the rules. The idea here is to try and catch 12 fish. You kill your first 3, and then the next 9 are released back into the reservoir. Brown trout only count in catch and release, so you don't kill the browns, they go straight back in. And then they weigh their first 3 fish, and then you get a time bonus if you finish earlier than the end of the match, which today is 6 o'clock. Tactically, what are you going for first? Are you looking for big fish? What's the routine? What are you trying to do?
Well, I think now this early season, I think it's get the whole lot as quick as possible.
And of course, the team set up so we have 6 anglers in each team, 132 anglers taking part today. So sharing a boat, you're not sharing a boat with your own teammate, are you? You're sharing with one of your rivals, and that's drawn, it's completely at random. So, somebody usually has the rights to the engine for a certain amount of time, and then that can switch, although these days most people don't tend to switch. It's just like a gentleman's agreement, or a ladies' agreement in this case. We've got a few ladies competing.
But what you get is a change of command, really. So if you've got an area that you want to fish, you can say you can have your 2 hours, as they say, and say I want to go to Barnsdale for my 2 hours, and your other guy wants to stay by the church, then you have to move, So that. But if you normally what happens is you both agree, and if it's not working, you've got other ideas,
Well, Billy, already signs that a few fish are coming out. We're over by the church in Church Bay, just above it actually. Paul Runnock just landing a fish on boat number 6 there. I mean, we've had a little shower of rain. The weather's changed on us already. If you were fishing today, what would you be thinking?
Well, these conditions are just getting better and better. This is getting softer. I felt the atmosphere's becoming softer, and that'll hopefully bring the insects on. And if it gets even softer than that, they'll start hatching, and you might even get them right on the top, on the dries. But they seem to be right nailed into the side.
There again is Wayne Jones, who's got, it looks like another fish on. So that's the second fish we've seen him hook. He's obviously got some sort of an edge going in there. That looks like it might be quite a decent fish. He's on his feet, look. Those fish are so close, Billy.
Yeah, and he's getting the drogue in. They're obviously going to try to pull him out.
The other issue you have, of course, because they've drifted into such shallow water, that fish, when he's trying to fight it, is not going to go down, it's going to go away. It's got nowhere to go if it goes down, because there's nothing underneath it. So it can only go away.
Here it
It's
comes.
got it
Here
under
it comes.
control. That is
And
a
it's
good
a brown.
fish.
It's a brownie, I think. Yeah, it looks like a big brownie. Ooh, has he got two?
Safely netted. Well, Billy, there's a little conflab taking place between the two guys from Change Fly Fishing here, boat 42, Willie Leach, with Gareth Jones on the engine. And in the other boat, there's Andy Dunn on boat 50. We know that Andy has had 4 fish. Just shouted over to him. What did you make of what he told us about his tactics?
Well, it's what I've been hearing. It's either floating line or various tips, but slow tip, it just holds about 6 foot length. The tip's about 6 foot length and holds the flies probably about 1 foot to 1.5 feet under the surface. And
so the tip of the line just kind of sinks below the surface and cuts through these little waves that we've got.
And the rest of the line's a floating line.
Do you know, it's interesting. We just saw Gareth Jones go past us with Willie on the other boat. Gareth's had 3 fish today. This sort of fishing, which is going to be quite technical, I think really suits someone like him. He was saying to me earlier on, one of the things that he's found, the water here is so clear, and depth is absolutely critical, by which, he's actually saying if you're a foot too deep or too shallow, the fish will not touch your flies. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty technical fishing.
That's where the tip comes in, because it holds you at a certain level. And the other thing is the thickness of your fluorocarbon. The thicker the fluorocarbon, the quicker it sinks, and the thinner it stays.
Yeah.
So, but with a fish this size, you only can go so thin. Otherwise, you're going to get ripped to pieces.
Get obliterated, don't you? And especially when you're fishing droppers. Ian Barr, who, again, former world champion, we saw him earlier on. Ian's talking about fishing 5-pound line on a 5-weight.
Yeah.
I've never seen him do that. He's usually a guy that fishes 8 weights.
But the 5 will absorb a fish better.
But this is the bit I love about this type of match, especially this time of year. There are so many moving parts, aren't there? So many different factors. Balancing your gear, getting the right size flies, balanced with the leader, the right, breaking strains and sink rates of lines, and it's just so many differences. It'd be fascinating to see at the end of today what's worked and what hasn't. We're looking at boat 40, which on the engine has Russ Owen, former world champion, lovely economic casting, fishing little tiny flies in a natural presentation right up his street. On the pointy end, highly technical Sean Hanlon. I can tell you, Billy, that both of them, and we're only 2 hours 20 into the match, have had 5 fish, so 10 fish to that boat. I mean, that's fantastic angling.
Great angling, and it's conditions are changing all the time, and I say it's going much softer now, and I've just seen some buzzer hatching. So, they could be on for a bag up, I think.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, so the bag up territory, this is the bag up is where the anglers catch their 12 fish early and go in, just go and put their feet up, and they get a time bonus.
And look very smug.
So
all the way along this bank is just like a larder of buzzer, daphnia, terrestrial flyers. You'll get your hawthorns and stuff like that, hatches of that.
Some mayfly hatching too.
Mayfly, yeah. No, I haven't seen one yet, but I've been lots of reports of it, and pond olives as well. So it's an absolute fantastic place this time of year for nature doing its best. There's no excuses. This place is full of food, full of fish, good conditions, and but it does get hammered. and you've got to be a little bit smart.
Yeah, we've got 3 boats in here. We're looking at boat number 54, which has got Alan Stephen from the Tartan Tyres on the engine and Mark Stephen from Neilston Fly Fishers on the pointy end. They've had 9 fish between them, and Alan has had 5, and in fact his boat partner has just hooked up. So there are obviously a lot of fish in. I mean, we've seen a lot of fish moving here. So yeah, this bay is a fascinating place. So on boat 35, which is over to the right of the 2 Scottish lads in front of us, they've had 7 fish between them. Well, there's boat 27 on the pointy end, Mark McCarthy, into a fish. And there's certainly a few fish landed in this area. This little bay does look like it's alive with potential for catching. Sun coming out. You can see the bottom underneath the boat, crystal clear water, and that fish safely landed. The other thing we haven't discussed today is the catch and release nature of this match, which I find fascinating. So the routine being, you're trying to catch your 12 fish, you kill the first 3, and the 9 are then released, which is something that's been going on for a little while. One thing you have to do is once you've caught your first 3, you have to switch from barb to barbless hooks, which is, the right way to go with catch and release. But what it means is those fish you are catching may have been caught before. They can be a little bit tricky to persuade to take a fly, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. But then there's some, they're absolutely mad and they're hungry and they'll take it. But there's an awful lot that are very suspicious now.
Yeah.
And hence why a lot of people have been fishing light nylon, smaller flies, and they're sort of quite static retrieved rather than moving the flies, trying to keep it as natural as possible.
Well, Billy, we're in the afternoon session. We're looking at boat number 30, and there is an old mate of yours, Ronnie Gilbert, sipping from his can of drink with his feet up.
Looking rather smug as well,
Yes.
looks at it. Yeah, I think he might have done something today.
Yeah, so Ronnie's obviously had his bag of 12 fish. I mean, we were expecting this to happen. It is only 3:30, so he could be sat in that boat not fishing for 2.5 more hours, while his boat partner, Pat Hoare from the Munster Mavericks, tries to catch up. Ronnie looks very pleased with himself.
Well, he should be, yeah. It's the best we've seen so far.
So we've wandered over to the Sailing Club Bay. There's boat number 7 on the point. Another angler sitting on their hands, Billy. That is Tim Joyce, who is a member of the Reservoir Dogs team. Spoke to him earlier on this morning. Sad story with the dogs. This year without their leader, Lee Pond, who sadly passed away a little bit earlier this year. A fantastic angler, and this is what they had to say about their team skipper.
Massive loss, a massive surprise to us. Huge boots to fill. He was always the leader of the team. He was always the guy that got everything together and organised and G'd everybody up and made the plan. Yeah, it has been an odd one to be in a hotel room without him and to be having dinner without him and all the things that go along with this team fishing. But, we're going to do our best for him today. We've got together some anglers. All these anglers that are with us today have all got stories. We've been together for 20 plus years, some of us, and the other guys have started off with Lee back in the day. So it means a lot to everybody. And we're going to do our best for him.
Yeah. For me, I've been with him since I was a teenager, so a good nearly 20 years. He was always there. It's very emotional to have him not here. This
is a big match. He loved this match and loved this water. This was the big one of the year, so it's going to be missed.
I think this will mean an awful lot to Tim, Billy, because speaking to him earlier on, he was quite emotional, understandably so. So was Phil Shaw-Brown. Lee, of course, former England captain, like your good self. What a nice bloke and what a great angler.
Absolutely. I've met him several times, fished with him in teams. Absolute gentleman. Such a shock. It really, it's so sad. But look at these guys, a lot of tribute to his team. They've come out and they've really done well. So that's what Lee would want.
The other thing, of course, is the distinctive yellow hats from the Reservoir Dogs team, which is something that Lee introduced to the team. So, the perfect tribute to a great man and a great angler.
Well, I think they're so bright that Lee will be able to see them.
Well, there's boat number 39, Billy. This kind of boat here, I think, kind of sums up what happened in the match last year. You've got Welsh Fish Hawks with Gareth Dixon on the engine, who's had 11 fish, he's after one more, and Dave Eames on the point, who's had 6. Flipping around the positions from the Spring Invitational last year, where of course the RAF Fishhawks won the event and the Welsh Fishhawks were second. I mean, I get the feeling if that is to be reversed in the match this weekend, people like Gaz are going to have to, do their job and catch their limit, and they're a hell of a team, aren't they?
Yeah, he's on that scratchy one at the end. You're waiting for it. You get a little jabby takes and things like that. They don't stick, and it's not a good place to be sometimes. And they look like they're having a great day.
Well, Billy, we've reached the end, I suppose, of the first day. I think it's fair to say an awful lot of fish have been caught. I can't wait to see who's done what, so we best head back to the jetty and see what the scores on the doors actually are. So here are the scores after day 1 of the 2024 Airflo Spring Invitational. Top of the pile, the Menteith Ospreys, led by a brilliant return from Peter Octoloni. He landed 12 fish for £36 6 1/4 ounces, but he certainly wasn't the only one to bag up with 12 fish. A total of 26 anglers caught their limit on an incredible day at Rutland Water. That's a rod average per angler of 7.9 fish. A special mention goes to Alice Davis of the Northumbrian Badgers here too. She caught all of her 12 on the most enigmatic of all tactics, the dry fly. I don't think we covered every square yard of Rutland Water today, but I don't think we'd have been far off. Up the North Arm, up the South, we've seen so many fish caught, it's been fantastic. Do you know the best thing about this whole event? We get to do it all again tomorrow, and 24 hours from now, one of these teams is going to be crowned the Airflo Spring Invitational champion. Michael, it seemed that everything fell your way yesterday, and I know that means that you guys did a lot of hard work in prep. What's the reason behind what happened yesterday, do you think?
Putting multiple boats in one area to start with, getting very lucky with that area fishing, and yeah, a bit of luck to be honest with you, because the fish are all over the place, and some areas fishing one day and they don't the other, so we gambled and we got it right.
Peter, great day for your team yesterday. You must be so pleased.
Yeah. It's only half time though. Still another day to go. So, a wee bit of change in conditions. Things could all change. So.
You got your game face on though.
We do, yes. See how it goes.
It's hard to believe when you think of the areas that were fished and how they kept on producing. Normally, with pressure, fish push out, and they just didn't. The food is getting blown into those areas, and the fish they can't help themselves. They got to feed. So. They're just going to stay there, and that gives us the opportunity to catch them.
It's going to be an interesting day, especially on with the way this place goes on day 2. It could be very tricky today. We've got a bit of work to do today. We're like £19 behind Ospreys, Menteith Ospreys, so we've got a bit of work to do. But you never know. Day 2 can be tricky if they don't get the fish and we do. You know how it goes. But it's a big ask, We were in their situation last year where we were sitting on top with a £20 lead, and it slipped away from us. So it can happen,
I don't think it is a big lead. I think with the calibre of angler here, some of these guys can make that up in no time. So we're definitely not. we're not going to be complacent. Put it that way.
Well, what a glorious morning. We are already out on the water. Billy, I can't believe that the numbers from yesterday's fishing. The rod average of 7.9 is
unbelievable.
Just incredible.
Unbelievable. It's like an average good matches of 4 fish or 3 point something. You get nearly 8. That is incredible.
Yeah, nearly 1,000 fish caught yesterday.
And was it 26 bags up?
Yeah, 26 of the anglers fishing yesterday had 12 fish. So you just see how well this place fished. Now the question remains today, how well day 2 will go. Very different conditions, bright and sunny. I mean, it's gorgeous being out here, let's be honest.
It's lovely for us, yeah.
The man who's leading the whole thing and who's leading his team to an incredible lead at the top of the pile, Peter Octoloni, is on his first drift through this bay just above the church at Normanton. And have a look at this. 12 fish yesterday. He bagged up in here, and you can already see that Peter Octoloni's method is working yet again. Billy, you've got to say, 19 pounds odd in front, the Menteith Ospreys have got it in the bag, surely, have they?
Well, it's a 10 fish. I would say that's a 10 fish lead. I mean, they look on the numbers on the on the scorecard, they all look very, very, very close. But I'd say the weight difference of 20 pounds is a lot to make up. But it's doable. You were sceptical. I think the guys that chasing them are really top
Some
quality.
great anglers,
You've got the Nymphomaniacs, and you've got Fulling Mill.
Yeah, the Fishhawks are in second, aren't they?
Yeah, all winners. So it's like a queue of winners.
Anything can happen. Actually, I'll stop you there, and if we look round, Peter Octoloni is playing another fish. So drifting into that corner, Billy, there's Peter yet again, rod in the air. I mean, he's going to run out of water in a minute. Look how close he is to the bank.
Fish jumping over there.
Fish jumping,
Be
safely landed that one.
We've been talking to guys, and they say the buzzer's got bigger. They've been fishing very small buzzer, and now it's apparently during the week they've got bigger from spoonings. They've got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then from going from size 14s, a lot of people are using 10s again now, and doing very, very well.
Brilliant insight to the way this match will go. Remember, 12 months ago on this very piece of water, the Fishhawks came into the match 20 pounds ahead and actually managed to lose their lead and finish second. So it can happen. Whether it will or not remains to be seen. What a day ahead. Well, Billy, looking over at boat number 41, Peter Octoloni on the engine, into another fish. I can't believe how well this morning started for him.
Absolutely. I mean, he's, by the looks of things, he showed us he's got 5 already, and it's left about an hour and a half. So he's cracking it again. If he's not going to finish today, I don't know when he wouldn't.
There's fewer boats in this little bay below the Normanton Church this morning, but it's pretty clear there are still plenty of fish around. We've got a bank angler who's kind of wading out among the boats, who I think we've seen have 3 fish already, and a couple of the other guys are drifting through here. There's a little bit more breeze, there's a bit of chop on the water. How do you think the weather's going to affect fishing today?
Well, I think they'll probably go a little bit deeper, but if they're feeding fish, they'll just be following the food. So if the food's coming up, they'll come up. But I haven't seen anything move on top here. I've seen a few jump, but I think they're all fishing probably straight lining buzzers, I think. And so you've got a range of depths there. So as you fish back to the boat, you can get down quite deep, but you've got a fly on your top dropper, which be fishing probably in a quite a good zone as well. About 2 foot down. So what happens is you're fishing like an arc, and as you throw out, it goes down and then it comes back up again, and then hopefully you're going to go through where the feeding areas are. Speaking
to Michael Lowe, one of Peter's teammates yesterday, obviously 5 members of their team had 12 fish yesterday, which is pretty extraordinary, and Michael was one of them. He was saying that they did quite well with washing line tactics yesterday. So just for those who don't understand, that involves basically using a very buoyant fly to kind of suspend your cast at the end. So that's your point fly essentially, and the other flies kind of, as you say, hang in a loop behind it. So I know that's a method that they would. We're going to have a little move because just like the anglers, we're running out of water here. We're going to drift into the marina if we're not too careful. So we're going to have a little move round. And I think Peter Octoloni is going to have to do the same in about 30 seconds. Well, Billy, I'm getting the impression that these anglers are in a bit of a hurry this morning. We're looking at boat number 52 with Russ Owen and Steve Smalley. Russ is on the engine, Steve on the pointy end. Russ has already had 6. We're only, under 2 hours in. Steve's had 3. I think if the Welsh Hawks are going to make a challenge for, pushing the leaders, the Menteith Ospreys, for the title here, Russ is key to it, isn't he?
Oh, Absolutely, former world champion and excellent angler. He's actually fishing virtually the same as we saw him yesterday in the same place. So he obviously feels very confident. He bagged up yesterday. So, I mean, he's just building a bag now at 6. I mean, it's, 2 hours in. He hasn't got that much more to do, really. And hopefully it'll start fishing a bit better. But it's amazing how well this place is fishing. I just don't believe it. I really don't believe it. It's incredible.
One of the things I was going to ask you, like today, one of the things I noticed yesterday was that a few people got a great start, as we've seen this morning, with Peter Octoloni, Russ, but things dropped off quickly. And then even there were some of them who were on half a dozen fish around lunchtime who didn't get their bags. Today, with this bright sunshine, is that going to is it going to be worse or better this afternoon? What do you think? I know we're guessing a bit, I know, but what do you think?
I think it's going to get harder and harder. It normally does on the second day. The fish will have had a hammering and then another hammering. They're getting another hammering now. And hopefully what happens is if you know what you're doing and you stay in the place that you feel confident in, others pull off, haven't caught, and go looking other places. And sometimes you get left here by yourself, and then you're able to finish your limit off.
The other thing here, of course, confidence in this sort of fishing is all important. You've got to stick to your guns. You've got to be very, very sure about what you're doing because, put simply, there are so many other options you could follow. Great big bit of water, 20 odd miles round this reservoir. It's enormous. So there's always something else going on somewhere else. And if you fall into the trap of chasing what might be next, you can be in some really big trouble, can't you?
I've done that so many times. If you feel confident and stay in a place and keep to your method, you normally do okay. It's when you start chasing it, start thinking, well, it could be better over there, it could be better over here, and you just completely disappear up where you know where. Yeah, and it's the good anglers are the ones that say, I'm going to stick it out, I'm going to do it, and normally comes off. Sometimes it doesn't, but I've got a feeling today that we're going to get another huge bag of fish come in.
Well, one of the other teams in contention is the Nymphomaniacs, and there is Gareth Jones on the point, into a fish here in just the most glorious part of Rutland water. This is incredible over here.
Dickinson's is one of my favourite spots, and this is where I would be fishing if I was fishing the match, because the buzzer is hatching everywhere. And I've seen a few fish move, the birds are working, it's absolute, fly fishing perfection.
Gareth's having to work quite hard for this, he's on his feet. The fish has gone right around the back of the boat into the drogue by the look of it. Just got to hope that he can...
I don't think it's got the drogue out. They might have.
Maybe
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You possibly wouldn't even need it in there. The drogue, of course, slows your drift down, and they're barely moving as it is.
Absolutely, and you want to be able to sort of tweak the boat, to get it facing the right way.
He's being very, very careful. So this is either a big fish. He's having to sort of navigate his way around his boat partner, Sean Hanlon from Renegades, casting in the process of Gareth trying to land this one.
The drogue is definitely not out, because otherwise he wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, can't see any ropes off the back.
Oh, yes, he's got him.
He got him. Done. Well done, Gareth Jones.
Well done.
Isn't it lovely to see that? And the water's so clear, Billy.
It's mint, absolutely mint up here. Oh, it's beautiful.
There we can see boat number 55. We're into the afternoon session, and as predicted, things are getting a little bit tougher. On the engine, Kieran Jenkins, second angler on the ranking from yesterday, who had his 12 fish. He's got 7 so far. And Kieran is another key to the chasing pack, keeping pace with the rest of them. We've just seen boat number 41, Peter Octoloni, who went off to that absolute flyer this morning in the Church Bay area. And Peter, having had 4 fish in the first hour, has now only had 8. So he's doubled his tally, but you expected him to potentially even have bagged up by now. And it just hasn't happened. And that, as we were talking earlier on, could just be because things are getting a little bit harder as the day progresses. The sun has been on the water ever since the match started at 9:30 this morning. So is it any wonder that the fish potentially have gone down? So we will have to wait and see what happens for the rest of this afternoon. Interesting choices to be made as this match progresses. Boat number 50 on the pointy end from the Welsh Hawks, Anthony Cartwright, who's had 5 fish, but he's actually being given a bit of a lesson by his boat partner from the French team, Frederick Schmidt, who's had 8. There is still time for the rest of the boats to catch up, especially if the leading team, the Menteith Ospreys, are not running away with it, but I do sense that something needs to happen quite quickly. Interestingly, yesterday, a few of the anglers reported that they went into kind of the very last throes of the match on a couple of fish and then had a little run of 5 or 6 right in the last hour. Now, we finish an hour earlier today, which may well stop that from happening, but it is still possible. Hope springs eternal. So here we are over at Yellowstone, boat number 27. There is Dave Reynolds slipping the landing net under a lovely looking fish, but the big news here is actually about his boatmate on the engine, and that is Derek Pozzi from the Grays Menteith Ospreys, who is on 11 fish. He is 1 fish away from completing his bag. As we saw yesterday, that 12th fish, the final one, can be the most difficult fish of the day to catch. Is it going to happen for the Ospreys? This kind of situation that Derek finds himself in here could be symptomatic of what's going on in this match. If he can get his 12th and get his bag, and he's the only angler I've so far seen this afternoon who's close, this could be a very significant moment indeed. But as it is, his boatmate is catching fish. At least it does mean, though, there are fish on the drift that they're on. Well, there is Tony Cartwright, rod hooped over. Another one of these fish that's close in here at Rutland. Extraordinary day. We've just seen in the very next boat over, Phil Shaw-Brown, boat number 42, losing a fish. He's about 60 or 70 metres away from Tony, who's just bringing this fish under control. This will be, if he lands it, his 6th fish. As I say, there is still time for things to happen here. One of the things I've noticed with these Rutland fish this last day or so is they come to the boat quite quickly, almost giving you the impression that they're giving up, and then they just tear off on another screaming run. And if you're not ready for it, you can be in a bit of trouble. But Tony seems to have got that one under control. The other thing, as the match starts to reach its conclusion and the adrenaline starts running, there is a temptation to rush a little bit. But he's managed to not do that, and that one is safely in the net, and that looks like a very, very nice fish. Well, there is a sight which could be hugely significant in this match. Boat number 41, a man with his feet up for the 2nd day running, Peter Octoloni from the Menteith Ospreys, has had his bag of 12. Top rod yesterday with 12 fish, and 12 fish again today. We already know, of course, one of his teammates, Derek Pozzi, is on 11 fish, and probably it won't be too long before he catches his 12th. How great must Peter Octoloni be feeling at this very moment? We spoke to him this morning. He was obviously totally keyed in to the drama that he needed for this match to be going into their hands, and Peter has managed to do the business 2 days running. What a fantastic angling achievement. Okay, we are into the last hour of this incredible match. Are we about to see something dramatic unfold? We've seen Peter Octoloni, who has had his 12 fish limit and is no longer fishing. He is a happy bunny. However, there on boat 52, Russ Owen also has finished. Obviously, the Welsh Hawks in second place trying to catch up and make up that incredible deficit of £19, Russ has had his limit of 12 fish. We don't know yet how many of the other members of the Menteith Ospreys have caught a limit either. We know Derek Pozzi is on 11. I can also tell you on boat number 51, Gaz Dixon, who is sharing a boat today with Ian Barr, Gaz has also caught his 12. So at least 2 members of the Welsh Hawks have bagged up. Are we about to see the roles reversed? Because remember 12 months ago, the Welsh Hawks managed somehow to blow a £20 lead on the second day and got knocked down into second. Is there any chance here that the most amazing comeback could happen and the Welsh Hawks could nick it at the last? Well, Billy, the queue for the scales is forming behind us.
The scales of justice.
The scales of justice. What a match this has been. 2 days.
Staggering, staggering. I've never seen Rutland fish like this. It's like really, really incredible. I mean, I've been coming up here for well over 30 years, probably more, and I've never seen the fish so consistent. I mean, at quarter to 5, I saw fish being caught in the same place they were caught 2 days ago. You know, it's unbelievable.
We've seen a few bag-ups. We know that the Menteith Ospreys are nailed-on favourites. We also know the Welsh Hawks are chasing them hard. Is there any prospect, do you think, that they could make up that £19? You know, we'll find out very soon.
Well, we'll find out. I would. Well, once you've seen Peter get a double bag from Stock Rod yesterday, that. You know, it's sort of
it's a fair indication, isn't it?
Fair indication they got something well cracked. You know, so whatever worked yesterday is working today in spades. You know, so I mean, literally, I've never seen it fish so well. I thought, 2 o'clock this afternoon it'll go flat. No one will be catching anything. It was just consistently catching. You know, I mean, it did slow up a little bit, but nothing like it normally does. You know,
amazing stuff. Well, look, there's only one way to find out, and that's happening now. Okay, of the chasing pack then, here are Fulling Mill Team Tequila. A great performance on the second day from them. Disappointment on the first day, not able to follow up their fantastic victory in the Airflo Open event in the autumn. 62 fish, £131 1 ounce for Fulling Mill Team Tequila. Fly Shop Welsh Hawks then. The only team with a realistic chance, perhaps, of catching the Menteith Ospreys. 50 fish for them. Couple of bag-ups. Russ Owen, Gaz Dixon. Great performance from them. £113. That's £258, the combined total over the 2 days. There is Peter Octoloni, the man who has led all before him these last 2 days, bagging up both on Saturday and Sunday. And I fancy they've won it, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than maybe they would have liked. 48 fish for Menteith Ospreys. That is a total of £105 5 ounces on the second day, and their overall total £266 and 5 ounces.
As you say, it comes as no surprise after yesterday's result where they were probably £20 clear. Second time they've won it, it's the Menteith Ospreys. Come up, guys, congratulations. Taking the trophy back to Scotland along with £1,500, a fly rod and a fly line each. And your medals. Well done, chaps.
Today was tough, really tough. And as I said this morning, the level of angling here is pretty exceptional, so we knew it was going to be tough. We dug in, we fished right to the last minute, and I know personally that some of the guys had fish in the last minute. I'm a great believer in that most of the time these competitions come down to one fish or another at some point. So yeah, I'll be keen to see the just how fine a margin it was.
And your man got top rod as well.
Peter, of course, yeah. I said this morning he was exceptional yesterday and he was exceptional today, so yeah, brilliant. He made a huge contribution to the team, which ultimately led to the win.
So as usual, the team that managed to win the event have found a little edge somewhere. I do wonder if these 3 flies in my hand were it. These have come from the fly box of Michael Lowe, the winning captain of the Menteith Ospreys, who've carried away the fantastic trophy for the Airflo Spring Invitational. In all reality, it's about dedication and hard work and the effort that these anglers put in to be the very best. What a fantastic weekend, what amazing fishing, and once again, Rutland Water, what a venue.